All right, so in today's video, I'm going to talk about half swording and using that in armored combat sports duel. This is a technique that I don't see many people use. I think it's super effective and it's one of my favorite things to do. And I've been working on how I transition to a half sword and how I use it in a duel environment. So first of all, let's talk about half swording is. Half swording is when you're taking your long sword like this and you're regularly fighting and you're throwing strikes. And instead of half swording is where you're grabbing the blade and using that blade to strike. Historically, you were using that to kind of shorten your blade and maybe stab up an armpit or get down in the neck, things like that. We don't do stabbing strikes in armored combat, so what you're really doing is cross-checking. You're getting the same points as you would for throwing a blade edge strike to your opponent, and you're using that blade edge to cross-check them in and get a nice ringing clank off their helmet. Usually the helmet is where you're going to land these, but I guess you could really land them anywhere as long as the judges give you points. You could cross-check someone's shoulder, but you'll find that the helmet is what works the best. I had kind of success with, and I really like doing. So let's talk about it a little bit. Basically, you'll be fighting, and again, I'm a lefty, so as I'm fighting, I'm going to transition that half sword by rotating my hand, either with my strong hand on the handle still, and then using my weak hand to cross check, or I might do the opposite depending on situation, which I'm going to talk about a little bit why you would do one versus the other.
That medal until then.
I think that was the tip of his foot, no?
That's
No.
woo! Swing and a miss from Jack Young.
Look at he swings.
Got
Yeah.
10 seconds.
Chuck's doing a
Chuck
great
getting
job
in.
of not letting him get by him.
Oh, Chuck
Oh
just
my God, yeah,
hammering
he's
him,
going hard
hammering
for it.
him.
We got the crap. He went for
Oh,
the throw.
snap, son. We-
So I've got Megan here today who's going to help me. Megan is the captain of the Banshees, the New England Armored Combat Sports Team, and I brought to demonstrate this because I needed two people to show how this works. So if you look at the manuscripts and videos from like HEMA, they'll usually have you transition with your strong hand on. As a lefty, my strong hand's my left hand. I found that watching videos of my fights, I actually do the opposite most of the time, and here's the reason why. If we're throwing a shots and I'm blocking, and I try to go into a half sword, what I generally want to do is keep as much blade on my opponent's blade as possible and get above them. So I'll go and rotate this way with my weak hand, come across the top, try to get in close. And as you can see, once you close someone in here, come in a little closer, if I can get that sword tied in tight and I can start throwing shots here, there's nothing that she can do easily without backing out. Half swording is very effective if you can use the rail. If you can get someone up against the rail with it, they have nowhere to go. If I go the other way, if she throws that shot and I try to rotate strong side, I'm now underneath and she's able to throw shots here. I've got really nowhere to go with this. I'm at a disadvantage. I want my blade above her blade. A lot of times what I'll use this for though is I'll bait somebody. I'll let them throw a shot at my leg so they go low. I'm going to rotate in, and again I'm going to blade side to blade side, and I'll show why in a second. And I'm going to come in close again, get that tied up here as much as possible and try to get those shots in. If I go blade side, so she throws a shot, and as she tries to pull it back, sword down potentially. I can keep control of it. Even if I'm not getting points, I'm keeping control of the situation, keeping her in the bind. If I go the opposite way, she throws that shot, and I try to rotate out here, she has the ability to pull that sword back much easier because I don't have that long kind of blade to manipulate and use almost as a lever. So, and she throws that low shot, so I'm fighting righty now. I am going to keep my strong hand on here, rotate and keep that blade to blade so I can use it to block, position, and control her. It's all about leverage, and that gives you the leverage point. If I go the other way, again, I'm fighting right-handed, throws that low shot. If I go weak hand now, she can pull that sword back, and I have nothing there to use. So you can use, similar to fight with an axe, you can use the end as a tool. So she throw, again, I'm going back to lefty because I'm more comfortable with it. Throw a low shot, I rotate. Even if I can't get in there for the cross check, she starts to pull that blade back. Your position. My arms are not leveraged. I'm not kind of angled. I can push down if I want. I can push back. I can come in for that cross check. You can even do this out of the bind. So if you get up in a bind where you get those hands up, you see this all the time in longsword duels where the hands will go up and people get stuck like this. If I the top down, even if I'm not scoring points right now, look at her arms to mine. I'm in a place where I have control of this right now. She's trying to get out of this situation and has to back out, and I can continue to push, to hassle, to harass someone, right? So I may not even get points the whole time with it, but I'm disorienting somebody, I'm putting in a position they're not comfortable with, and I'm also now throwing another technique that they're not expecting they have to worry about. Just like if you were in longsword duel with people, you don't get points for kicks. I still might throw a kick in that fight because the reason is now she's worried about the lower body. She's getting kicked the whole time. I throw a kick, fake it, and throw that strike, right? So you're trying to add kind of versatility to your fighting, different techniques. Half swording works really well for that. And then when you do get it, again, if someone's up against the rail, put that sword down low. If I get her in a bind and I get and she's the rail behind her, I'm literally just going to get point after point after point here, and it's very hard to get out of if you have that position. They're going to have to then go into a grapple, which is not effective and great in longsword duels, or they're going to have to try to maneuver out of it, and you can be winning that fight in those few moments. So half swording, super good technique. The way I practice it's really simple. I'll just be on my pel, I'll be throwing shots, doing whatever I'm doing, and then as I throw an upper shot, I'm going to try to then, an onside shot, I'm going to work on rotating in and getting into that cross check. I'm going to work on it both ways, right? So I might throw an offside shot, work on the cross check. I might practice going from a block to a cross check, and I'm just going to do that over and over again until it becomes instinctual and second nature. I find it again to be something that most people are not doing right now in armored combat. I think it's super effective, it's legal, gets you points, and it looks really cool. If you'd like to learn more, comments, questions, you can leave them down below, like and subscribe, all that great stuff. I'm the Woodchuck Knight. This is Megan. She's captain of the Banshees, the women's armored combat team from New England, and thanks for watching.